Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for our next show, G.L.A.M show. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, I would like to introduce you to someone before we get started. This is my cat. This is Minerva McConaughey Martinez. She just want to come on and say hi. She's not very happy right now because she doesn't want to be held. She's in a and I just got scratched too. Welcome. Happy Friday, everyone. It's been another long week, especially for those of you in quarantine and following rules. Hopefully we all are, because we all want to get better. You know, my friends are having a really hard time with this. I'm pretty used to it because, like I said last week, this is something I've been preparing for all my whole gap year. So, but I hope you guys are all staying safe, staying healthy, and just really doing your part in making this go away as quickly as possible. So my dad kind of introduced what I'm doing tonight. I will be talking about musicals, and it took me a little longer than a week. I told him this is like probably the most time and energy I've put into a show, because I love musicals, and it's like I had so many to pick from, and it's not just on TV and on movies. Like, you have Broadway, and I went to my first Broadway show this year, and I'm so excited to go to more this next year. I'm so excited, like I can't even explain. And musicals were always a part of my growing up. My mom loved musicals, and my dad doesn't necessarily love them. He watches them because they're good. And I didn't even realize that there was a difference between musicals to begin with. But there is. And now that I'm older and I've been in the theater world that I'm wanting to pursue, I can see that I'm not necessarily the best singer, but I mean, I would love to try and do musicals. Wow, hold on. Mom, I'm bleeding. My cat made me bleed pretty badly, but I'm okay. But that's the first time that's actually happened where it's bled that bad. But I'm really excited to just get started into what I want to do, and hopefully musicals can be a part of that. There's something about, I mean, you take my love for music and you take my love for acting and you put it together, and I mean, come on, you got a musical. And I wanted to clarify, for me anyway, the musicals I've chosen tonight, other than the TV shows, for me, a musical, what a true musical is not when there's songs in a movie. It's when you have actors and they burst out into song as if it was a part of the conversation. And they explain and they talk through a song. Mom.
Yes.
Can you get me something to my cat made me bleed?
Yes.
Please, thank you. My mom is here. And we are in my house, if you couldn't tell. Same backdrop, same place. Just because I'm so used to staying home, and I really, my friends are having a hard time staying home, and I want to support them and everyone else by staying home. But so musical to me is when you are talking through song. And it's almost like it didn't even happen. There's some movies that they're 50-50, where they talk about the fact that they're bursting into song. They're like, how are they just bursting into song? But the song is still communicated through, the conversation is still communicated through song. And I think it's amazing the way they do that. Especially now, you're seeing a lot more movies being made and TV shows being made where they're realizing that they're singing, but it's still a musical. But there are some TV shows that are totally musicals, but they don't have individual original songs. And I think that's what I love about musicals, is that most of the songs are completely original. And having my love for music, it's just grown with musical songs, musical theater. And I can listen to musical theater all I want, all the time. I can't tell you how many songs I know by heart. that I know I can like act through, that I try and copy the moves from the movies or these musicals. And so I'm really excited. So tonight I'm going to talk to you about TV shows, movies, animated movies, and then Broadway. And so for Broadway, I have kept it to musicals that are still only on Broadway, still on Broadway. And these picks, there's a lot more than what I have. But these picks, thank you, Mom. These picks, they're my favorite. These are the musicals I've probably watched all the time. I do watch all the time. What am I saying? I watch all the time. I could rewatch them, and I'm still singing along. And once I rewatch a musical, I'm singing that song or those songs for the next few days. And it can get annoying, but it's something about them. And it's my mom. She raised me on them. You want to pop in real quick? No, Mom doesn't want to pop in. She's right there. But no. She raised me on them, and honestly, I don't know what I don't think I'd be the same if I didn't have musicals in my life. So, and what I'm going to do is, instead of doing separate songs, I'm going to do one song for each show, movie, and for each thing I've picked, there's going to be one song all together. So, we're going to start off with TV shows. And so, TV shows, there's not a whole lot that people do other than there's not a lot of original songs. And the ones that do, I love. But the biggest one, probably most well-known and that was most successful, was Glee. Glee was an outstanding show. I'm not like a huge Glee fan. I did watch many of the episodes and I would sing along, but they did covers and they used a lot of current songs, and that's what made it so popular. Was you had this, I mean, it's high school, and it's a Glee club, and they're singing, they burst out in song to convey meaning or feeling, but it's also, none of them are original songs. That for me, it's like, it's a musical, but it's not like a true musical. So Glee is a great show. It's on Netflix right now, so you can go and binge watch it. I haven't seen every single season. I personally liked the new class that came in. I don't know why, a little more. I think it was the actors I preferred, but Glee's a great show, and so it's on Netflix. I highly suggest it. This new show, my mom is obsessed with, and I've watched it, and I think it's pretty good. And one of my favorite actors who sings is in it. What's his name? I just had it in my head? Okay, sorry, but he was in Pitch Perfect, and he played. Oh my God, I'm just forgetting. But it's called Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. And the lead actress in that show, actually, we watched when I was younger, and like The Middle and all of those shows had just come out on ABC. She was in this other show, and I really liked her in that one. And so I was like, my mom wanted to watch it, and I watched it. And Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist is like Glee in the fact that they're doing covers of songs, but everything's happening in her head, and she's the only one that can see the musicals going on. And I think it's really cool. And so that's new. The episodes are still coming out. You can watch them the next day on Hulu, and they're on NBC. So that one I'm watching it. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if it's like my favorite musical ever, my musical TV show, but it's definitely good. And then, so when I was younger, growing up, this TV show was on Nick. And it's not a true musical. It's a musical in the sense that they wrote the original songs, but it was a boy band, and it's called Big Time Rush. And if you are my age or you had kids growing up that watched this, it's a boy band, but they would burst out into song because they were a band and they moved to Hollywood and they became a band, and they actually did tour. The band toured, but they were strictly through Nick. And I loved that TV show, and it was so hilarious the way they did it. But they wrote all original songs. You can listen to them on Apple Music. But the show itself, they would burst into song, but it was only for they did sometimes converse through songs, but it wasn't entirely a musical per se. So, but I still have a soft spot in my heart for that boy band. And then this last TV show that I have, I love this TV show. It's probably my favorite TV show that is a musical. And it just finished its last season. It's on Netflix. You can go and watch it. It was on the CW, and there's a lot of people that don't like the CW shows per se, but this one was kind of crazy. My cat's crawling. but it's called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and it got a little crazy, like really crazy in the last 2 seasons. But at the beginning, it's definitely an adult show, but in the beginning, it was definitely 100% just hilarious, and it doesn't focus on a high school generation, which is what most of the TV shows I watch. It's a woman in her 30s who moves from New York to West Covina, California, and what I love about this show is that Rachel, I can't remember her last name. Oh my God. Her name's Rachel, but the woman who stars in it, she wrote all of it. And so the show got picked up by CW after it had been passed down. And I'm so glad it did, because I think they had like 6 seasons. And for some reason, this show stuck with me. All original songs, amazing music, and like they're funny. It's a hilarious show. I highly recommend this show. I really do. It's hilarious. It's adult, and it's something that most TV shows nowadays aren't. It's a true musical. It really is, and I find it amazing that they were able to do that with a TV show, and she did it because of her love for musical theater. Shows. I'm gonna play all the songs at the end. That's my TV show. I don't have any for Glee and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist because I want to stick to original songs. But for movies, this is like in no particular. I know I'm going kind of fast, but it's because I have a lot. The first movie that probably one of the first musicals I ever saw, and my mom and we love this movie. We can watch it all the time. My brother's not a huge fan of it. My dad makes fun of it, but I think the main reason I love it is because the main actress is my favorite actress of all time, Meryl Streep. Mamma Mia, you guessed it. I love Meryl Streep, and I could go on for days why I love her, but this musical, it's hilarious. It's something my mom and I could watch all the time, and we still do. And it's something like, it's age appropriate, but it has jokes for older people or older adults, because I was young when I first watched it. And then Mamma Mia 2 just came out, and my mom and I went to the theater, and I was actually really upset because, they're ABBA songs, and they're not like original for the movie, but they used all ABBA songs. And I think that's what was really unique about it. And I had no idea when I was younger that these were ABBA songs. It wasn't until like a few years after I'd seen the movie and I'd grown up, my brother was like, they're ABBA songs, right? And I was like, who's ABBA? And I had no clue. Now I do, and I've listened to them as the ABBA's original songs. But for Mamma Mia, they strictly use ABBA songs, and I think it's awesome. And so Mamma Mia 2 just came out. My mom and I went to the theater, and they used the same songs, and I know these songs, so I wasn't like loud, and I know you're not supposed to talk during it, but I'm like humming along, and like you get looks from people, and I'm like, I genuinely like thought to myself, this is a musical. How can I enjoy this if I'm not allowed to like hum or sing to the song? Because that's what a musical is. You want to immerse yourself in it, and unless you're singing it for the very first time and you don't know the songs, like you want to sing along. That's the great thing about a musical, is that you feel like you have to interact with it. And I when we're at home and we're watching a musical, I get up, I dance, I do everything they do as if I'm there. So Mamma Mia, Meryl Streep, I'm going to play 2 songs from them, because one from the first one, and then another from the second one, just because I love that movie so much. But Amanda Seyfried, Meryl Streep, they're hilarious. I love them. That cast was just phenomenal. And it's something that my mom and I have always connected with. And I think that's why it holds a near and dear to my heart. And like I told my mom, I was like, when I get married, we have to have the last song play that they sing when Sophie's getting ready to get married, and it's beautiful. And I was like, we're gonna have that playing. And I was like, you should sing that to me. My mom was like, no, because she doesn't like to sing. But we're gonna have that song playing when I'm getting ready to get married. Like I know it, because it holds such a special place in our heart. Okay, so that's my first movie. My second movie, and this one, if not Mamma Mia, this one would be the one that challenges for the first musical I ever saw. So my mom loves this movie. She would watch it every day of the week. I love it too, but not as much as her. And it's an older movie. But Julie Andrews stars, and I have two of her movies on my list because Julie Andrews is amazing. She's an amazing singer, amazing actor. Sound of Music. Man, The Sound of Music. It tells a great story, and I didn't when I was younger, I didn't even realize the story that was going on. They're in Germany, and all this stuff was happening. But now that I'm older, I can appreciate it even more. But the storyline of all this, and that she came to be a baroness and help the father, and then they end up falling in love. I don't know. Like I think about it now, it's like that's kind of crazy how that all happened because she was going to be a nun. But things happen. So The Sound of Music. Julie Andrews is amazing, and I remember my mom and I watched a documentary just like maybe 4 years ago about how like she can't sing as well as she did back then, and that hurts me. That hurt me when I saw that because she had surgery, and I was like, oh my goodness. But The Sound of Music is a classic. So many people know it. There's specific songs in there that people just they know as soon as you hear them. And I actually sang the one I'm going to play. I sang it at the talent show. I think 5th grade, and it was because it was a song I knew by heart already. My dad was like, "That's an easy song to sing. We're gonna sing that one," and it's a really good. I don't know, The Sound of Music. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. It's classic, and you have to see it. All right, my second Julie Andrews movie, Mary Poppins. So for my favorite musicals, it was hard because I had to narrow down, and I have a lot of favorite musicals. I love all the musicals. So I was like debating on whether to put this one in here, but Mary Poppins is definitely a movie for kids. Like it's a Disney movie, and it's amazing the way that they did all the animation and the original. And I haven't seen the remake with Emily Blunt. I love Emily Blunt, but I think it'll ruin it for me. I genuinely do. I love Julie Andrews, and I like Emily Blunt as an actress, but I don't know. The original Mary Poppins, I don't think I can get past that they remade it. But man, I loved singing these songs. And when I was younger, obviously the animation really stuck out to me, and I didn't even realize the story. Again, like most of these musicals that I see, I don't realize the storyline that's actually happening. But the song I'm gonna play is like, now that I've heard it, like now I'm like, wow, what a song for the time period. Like, man, I was like so on board. I'm like, that song needs to be sung more. It needs to be out in the open more for women, and I'm really excited to play that one. But Mary Poppins, it's good for the family. It's good for all ages. Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke is in that movie. And I didn't know who he was when I was younger. I still, even like a few years ago, if you asked me, I wouldn't know the significance of who he was, but I do now. So, I mean, just for the actors, you have to watch it. It's a classic. So Mary Poppins. Okay, I couldn't make a musical list and not include Grease. I was I think I was in middle school when I saw Grease for the first time. My parents were like, "You never seen Grease?" Because I loved musicals, and I was like, "No." And they actually did it on Glee. They did the musical on Glee, and like I loved that. But Grease it's a classic. So many of these are classics, and you can't know or watch musicals without actually seeing these. Grease was different. It took place, I think in the 50s or the 60s. Can't remember exactly. But I remember when I first watched it, I got so into the way that they dressed. I wanted to wear like the way the girls dress with their long skirts, and I was just so into it. And it's very funny. It's mature in the fact that they're talking, some of the things they talk about, some of the things, because they are in high school, but some of the things they talk about, it's more mature. It's not exactly what you would want to nowadays. Like, and it was, back then, it was considered not okay. And I'm gonna play the song that I love the most from that. It's not even the ones that are like highly remembered. It's just one of the ones that I favor, just because of the lyrics, and I'm so excited. But Grease I mean, you have John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and they are just, even now, everyone knows who they are because of them. Now, they've done amazing things afterwards, but you know them from Grease. That's instantly, and a pairing together was amazing. So Have to have Grease on here. All right, Hairspray. The Zac Efron with Zac Efron. So I love Zac Efron for obvious reasons. I'm gonna get to that movie in a little bit, but Hairspray. When they made Hairspray, I remember watching it with my mom, and I was like, I started dancing. It was like an instant connection with me in this musical for some reason, and it's hilarious. And I think that's the great thing about musicals is they're hilarious. They're not just one genre. They surpass everything and they combine everything with music, and that's what makes everything beautiful. But Hairspray, definitely. I literally just watched it a few months ago, and I was listening to the songs over and over again. And my mom and dad can tell when I've rewatched something because I'll listen to this music over and over again. And I still, to this day, I love that Nikki Blonsky. I haven't seen her come out in anything else, but it was her first big movie, and she killed it. And John Travolta's actually in that one too, but he plays a woman. He plays the mom, Tracy Turnblood's mom. And so basically, I think I like this one so much was because they were in high school, but it was a little bit of different scenario because you had these kids who were on TV and they were dancing. And so Hairspray is one of the first ones where they kind of broke that barrier of having it just be one thing, of the musical one thing, because they use the music in songs. They sing songs and they use it for conversation, but then because they're on TV, they're already performing. So they have both. They have it, and this is what I like and what we're starting to get into more and more of now, is that they have, okay, you can tell, everyone knows they're singing, there's a reason they're singing, and it's not a part of conversation. But then you also have, okay, no one realizes she's singing, she's just singing to herself. It's almost like an aside, and she's conversing with someone. She's conveying how she feels to the audience, and no one else really sees what's going on. And I think that's what's cool about Hairspray, and that's what made me kind of take to it in the beginning, because it was different than most musicals. And not that I don't love my traditional musical, I really, really, really do. But you know, I think for people, most people, that when they have something against musicals or they're not their favorite, they usually say it's like, I remember they were like, I've heard people say, it's weird that they just burst out into song. I'm like, but that's a musical. That is the whole point. So for people who, like, they're trying to target other people, a bigger viewer, bigger audience, you know, you kind of have both. And it's not always that they're just bursting out into song. There's a reason for it. You know, they're shooting a TV show and the song is a part of the TV show. So it's not like they're, and I get why they do it. I really do. And I think it's a great way to get more people into musicals. Because I have friends who don't really like the Broadway type musicals, but they'll like a movie musical where you can tell that they're singing for a reason. So Hairspray, love it. Here's another Disney one, Enchanted. And this isn't a huge movie. A lot of people underestimate Enchanted. They overlook it. Amy Adams is a phenomenal actress. I didn't realize how many movies of hers I actually loved until I was like, oh my God, I have to have Enchanted on there. And I almost forgot about it because when I think about it, I'm like, I'm looking at all the musicals that I know off the top of my head, out of my heart, right out. And then I'm like, okay, I don't want to forget anything. So I went and I looked them up and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many more that I forgot. There's so many more that I haven't even seen. And there are musicals that I'll be straightforward with you, I have not seen. There's way too many. There's too many for this lifetime for me to watch every single musical. And that's the great thing is that you have musicals that started out on Broadway. You have musicals that started out as movies and went to Broadway. You have movies that were adapted to be a musical. And I kind of ways to have a movie be a musical nowadays, that most of them don't just start out as musicals now. So, and Enchanted, it's a musical. It's purely a musical. And Amy Adams, she's hilarious in this movie. She plays this princess, and she comes from a fantasy land, a fairy tale land. And she comes in and she pops up in a little great in New York, she just comes out with wearing her big poofy wedding dress, and she runs into Patrick Dempsey. And I've loved Patrick Dempsey since, Mom, it's Patrick Dempsey, right? Yeah, it's Patrick Dempsey. I had to remember because I have a problem with names. I would watch a lot of movies, like a lot of actors and actresses, for me to remember everyone's name. But my mom, so before Grey's Anatomy became like a big thing on Netflix and people started binge watching it, my mom had watched Grey's Anatomy from the beginning with Private Practice. She watched both of them. And I, being young and watching whatever my mom watched, because that's what we did together, I would watch it with her. And I remember watching Grey's Anatomy when I was like a kid, way before my friends had even heard of it, way before it blew up, because you could stream it instantly. Back when it was just on ABC, you had to wait for it to come out on Thursdays. That's when I watched it. And I love Patrick Dempsey because he's in Grey's Anatomy. So to see him in this movie, it's hilarious because he plays this uptight, big businessman. And in comes Amy Adams, this princess from a land of nowhere, and he's got a daughter, and the daughter's immediately taken with her, and she's like, the dad's like, she's crazy. We got to get her checked out. But she sings because she's from like a Disney fairy tale land. So she sings, and like he's looking at her like this is crazy, but everyone else around them is like, oh yeah, this is normal. Like we've totally been in break out into song, and he's the only one that's like, did I just see that right? And I think it's hilarious. And it's so overlooked. It really is. The songs are catchy, the acting is great, and the visual. Some of it's animated because she started out as a princess. And I love her. I love that movie. And my mom and I watched it, and I didn't even realize like how much I forgot about it. I was like, oh my God, it's a great movie. Okay, and so my last movie musical that isn't animated. This is the musical that my mom didn't show me. Obviously, I grew up watching Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. The Disney Channel original movie, High School Musical, and then High School Musical 2 and High School Musical 3 senior year. I cannot tell you my whole life, if I were to ever get the chance to be in a High School Musical, like they just did the spinoff on Disney Plus, and I love the spinoff. I genuinely love it. And there was a lot of speculation when it first, from the trailer first came out, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, but I was taken with it. Anything High School Musical, I love. And part of the reason, especially when I was young, I was like 6 or 7 when the movie came out. Her name is Gabriella, and I can't express people that don't have normal, super common names, you know what I'm saying when you know that there isn't like a bunch of women in movies and music that have your name. And for her to play, she's Hispanic, Latina. They don't specifically say what she is, but she is Gabriella Montez. And you have her playing this role, and I fell in love with her. I really did. Vanessa Hudgens, I love her. Regardless of what she's done recently with saying stuff for the coronavirus. But I wanted to be Gabriella Montez before I even started thinking about colleges. I remember I told my mom, I want to go to Stanford because Gabriella Montez went to Stanford and I have to go. And when I actually made the decisions to where I wanted to apply, Stanford wasn't it for me. It's a great school, but it wasn't what I wanted. Me as a child didn't really actually know what was going on. But I wanted to be, and I still, if there was a chance, if I ever did off-Broadway show of High School Musical, I would do it because I want to be Gabriella so much. And those movies, they were growing up. Each one came out when I was growing up. And I still, it's been 10 years, and I still love that movie. I still love all those movies. I'm actually going to play a song from the second movie because I had to choose my favorite, and there's so many, but I think I chose the best one. So that's it for movies that aren't animated. For animated movies, I have 3, and they're all Disney, and they're all princess movies because those are the best. So my first one is probably, oh man, it's hard to say. These 3 are they're overlooked, but they're not, and I don't know. This one is, I love it. Tangled. It's based off Rapunzel, the Princess Rapunzel. But Mandy Moore is one of my favorite actresses, and she's a beautiful singer. And the music and the cinematography in Rapunzel or in Tangled is amazing. And I watched the entire spin-off series on Disney Plus, like Rapunzel's Adventures and stuff, because I love it that much, just the storyline. And it's an interesting take on the original storyline. So I Tangled, I love that movie so much. Okay, my second one is Mulan, and so many people love this movie, and it deserves it. It's a great movie. It's an empowering movie for women, and the live action is coming out. I think I just saw today actually that they're postponing the release in theaters till July, but I'm really excited for that. Even though it's not a musical, I'm still excited because they are focusing on the culture, and I think it's very important. Like, I'm disappointed that it's not going to be a musical, but the culture is what's important, and I think that's what's great. And I've always, like, the great thing about Disney princesses is that they've had range. They started out with Snow White, and then they went, and you have Mulan, and you have Pocahontas, and yeah, the storylines are not the best sometimes, but they're showing representation. I'm still waiting for Mexican Princess to sing, but that's me. We got close. We get closer every time, and now like we're seeing more representation. But I'm still waiting for a Mexican Princess. I know there's one on Disney Junior, but that's not a movie. I want the movie. So Mulan. Oh man, I don't even know the Mulan songs are completely different for me because they're telling they're telling the storyline, but they're so funny because there's only like one song where she's the only person singing, and you have her and you have all the different voices coming in with the commentary. So when I listen to the music, I'm over here, I'm not just singing the song, I got my commentary, and I'm like, it's funny to see me because I'll make faces and I'll turn into a whole different person. So Mulan, and then Princess and the Frog. Man, I don't even know it. I mean, it's in New Orleans. You're talking about the jazz, and it's amazing. The music that they have is unlike any other princess movie, in my opinion. And I will sing the song I'm gonna play all the time. I think it's amazing, and I like it. For me, I feel the lyrics. Okay, so that's it for my movies you can see. I have 3 for Broadway. I've only seen one, but I am gonna see these next. Well, okay, one of them just went off Broadway, and I'm really sad about it. But I was supposed to see it with Catherine, but my brother ended up going instead of me, and I'm still upset about it. But okay, so the first one I have is Hamilton. And I'm a history lover. My mom brought me up on history. And especially like when I took it AP US during my junior year in high school, my teacher actually showed us the song, and but I hadn't like gone and listened to it. But he was like, this is the musical is a great for that time period. And that time period, we kind of speed through it. It's not a huge section that we're supposed to be learning about. But the raps in the musical, they are my favorite thing in the world. My parents both know I have them down. I can rap, and my dad jokes about me rapping all the time, but I try. When it comes to a song I like, I will try. So I'm gonna play my favorite one, and I know for a fact I got 2 questions right on my AP test because of that song. For a fact, I know it. Okay, and then so the second one is Waitress. And this one just went off Broadway. It just finished up, but I included it because, 1, I wanted to really see it. 2, it's written by one of my favorite songwriters. She's a singer too, but not a lot of her songs are huge hits, but my dad made me listen to her ever since I was young. My brother and I love her music. I love her music. My mom, great. She's a phenomenal songwriter. So Sarah Bareilles, I don't know how to say it, but she wrote the music for this musical. She wrote it out. She wrote the musical. She produced it, and it's beautiful. And I really wish I had seen it. I mean, I know the premise of it, and that's the thing. When you want to go see a Broadway show, unless you're just gonna pick one or you've heard about it. Like for me, someone who's always wanted to see Broadway, shows, I have gone and I've looked at the premise. I know exactly what's going to happen. So when I went to see this next one I'm going to talk to you about, I knew every song before I even sat theater. And I like had to restrain myself from singing because it's a Broadway show. Come on, you gotta. So I was like really quietly in my head. But so Waitress, I know the whole premise. My brother and Catherine told me all about it, and I wish I could have seen it before it got off Broadway. But hopefully I'll see it on off Broadway or traveling, something. But I'm really excited. And so this last one is the one I have seen. And okay, so little background. I know this is a long show, but I put a lot of work into this. A little background. When I think it was my sophomore year, my 3 friends, and Lily, you've met, Anna and Sarah, we were going up to Pismo for Lily's birthday weekend, and Sarah and Anna were telling me about this new Broadway musical, and it was new. I think it came out in 2016, and I was like, okay. So they played me a song from it, and I started dying laughing. Like, I was like, wow. And it's a lot. My friends aren't like huge into musicals, so it's a lot saying like but I think what drew us toward it was very centered. It was targeted to teens, and that's what the whole musical is about. And I could talk about it for hours, but basically you have Evan Hansen, because it's called Dear Evan Hansen, and you have Connor Murphy, and then you have all their parents, and so Evan Hansen is a teen that's struggling with suicide. And this musical is not for everybody. Let me just say that first and foremost. It's not the most happy musical. You have songs for comedic relief because it talks about heavy stuff, real problems going on. And I think that's what's so important about it for me and my friends. It was amazing because they specifically talk about things that need to be talked about, but they do it in a musical in a beautiful way. And so he's struggling with suicide, and he meets in his school who commits suicide, and they find this note on him that Evan had wrote, but not to him, but he had written to himself, and Connor had taken it for another reason. But basically it gets messy, and Evan makes up this whole story about him and Connor being friends, and it gets really messy. And in the end, he comes clean, but I'm not going to tell you everything. There's a lot of little things that happen along the way, but Evan gets better, and eventually he gets to the point where he doesn't want to kill himself, which is amazing. But they talk about, what we can do to help and really like be there. And so Evan, like in the musical, they set up this whole thing, this the Connor Murphy Foundation, where they want to make sure that no one believes that they're alone. And the music is beautiful. There's a song called You Will Be Found, and I'm not going to play it because it's not my favorite, but You Will Be Found. And they just did, the Dear Evan Hansen cast just came out on someone's live stream the other day, and they were singing it because of the quarantine. And Ben Platt stars in the original cast, and I love his voice. He came out in Pitch Perfect. Skylar Astin, that's his name. Sorry. He comes out along with Skylar Astin and Anna Kendrick, and he plays Benji in Pitch Perfect, and that's kind of where he got to start. But he went into this musical, and it's beautiful. His voice is amazing. And so this is my playbill. See. This is my playbill from Dear Evan Hansen. So this was at the Music Box Theater, and it's still there. Obviously, it's not playing right now because of the quarantine, but they were still putting on shows. One of the Jordan Fisher actually was gonna come out and play Evan, and then so I collect keychains, so don't be alarmed. This is my Dear Evan Hansen keychain that I bought after seeing the show. Hi, Nervy. And so most of these are from New York. Actually, I collect keychains, but this musical I want to see again. I really do. It was amazing. I didn't get to see it with the original cast, but the cast I did see it with was amazing. They did a great job, and I'm so excited to hopefully see it again. Okay, so now I'm gonna play one song, and this is the last thing I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna play the songs that I personally favor from all of the ones that I've listed, except for Glee and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, because those are cover songs. They do covers. So the first one is from Big Time Rush. This is called Worldwide. I think this is from the second season. It's so good. Okay. It's so connected. Been missing you by my side. It's a boy band, but they write all their original music. They're not together anymore, but they joke about reuniting all the time, hopefully. So this next one is from my favorite, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. This is from the last season, but I don't know. When I heard this song, it was too funny, and it's one of my favorites. Every night I lie awake, dreaming of my big break. I just wanna act and dance and sing, 'cause I only ever wanted one thing. I wanna be a preteen Hollywood train wreck. Okay, so it's called I Wanna Be a Child Star, and it's not sung by any of the main cast. It's sung by the lead girl, her brother, but he wants to be a child star, and so she takes him to this audition, and he bursts into song, and it goes 3 verses, and it's hilarious. I want to be a preteen Hollywood train wreck, a cautionary tale, and because you see a lot of child stars become, they get involved with a lot of bad things, and then they try and come back, and so it's poking fun at that. And I think that's what I love about this show, is she makes fun of so many things, but like things, everyday things that we talk about. She makes fun of women, she makes fun of men, and like you also have women empowerment songs, you have songs about sex, and like it's an adult show, but it's hilarious. There's a song from the first season. She has her boss comes out as being bi, and there's a song. It's like, I forget what it's called, but it's like he talks about being bi, and he's a 40-year-old man. He just realized it, and it's his coming out song. It's amazing, and this show's hilarious. But that's probably my favorite song from it, just because it pokes fun at stuff that we've seen happen in society. Okay, so this one is from the first Mamma Mia ABBA song, but this is sung by Meryl Streep. Pierce Brosnan is a little bit in it, but the winner takes it all. And I absolutely love this song. It's one of my songs that I have on my sad heartbreak playlist. It's just so good. Okay. I love Meryl Streep singing, by the way. She can do it. Everything, man. Inspiration. It's a long intro, but if you've heard the song by ABBA, it's amazing. Listen to it by Meryl Streep. She's equally amazing. So the second one from the second movie, it's played in the first one, but I like the way, I'm a big fan of Lily James, and when they cast her as a young Meryl Streep, I was like, yes. So she played Cinderella in the live-action remake, but she sings, Amanda Seyfried sings I Have a Dream in the first one. She sings it in the second one, and I love her voice. Dream. She's an amazing singer. I love her so much. Her, Lily James, and oh my god, I really suck with names. But my other Lily, who is in Love Rosie. So this one I did this one on purpose because this is me and my mom's songs, the one I sang at the talent show. My favorite things from Sound of Music.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
Beautiful. She's in this scene, the kids are scared of the storm going on, so she sings about her favorite things that make her happy, that she thinks of when she's scared, and it's an iconic song. It really is. Ariana Grande used the beat to make what you guys know what song I'm talking about. One of her latest songs. Oh my gosh, I can't think right now because I'm thinking about this. Okay, this one from Mary Poppins with Julie Andrews. This is not a Julie Andrews song. This is sung by the mom Glennis Johns, because this is a woman empowerment song. I had no idea until I recently reheard it, and I was like, wow, they were really talking about that? But this is Sister Suffragette.
We're clearly soldiers in petty coats and dauntless crusaders for women's votes. Though we adore men individually, we agree that as a group they're rather stupid.
So she's talking about how women are equally as important during that time frame. You know, she's talking about the right to vote, and it's so progressive. And I think it was beautiful, being a woman who supports women and supports equality. Hearing that song, like, we need to use that song a little bit more. She calls men stupid, so it's not like the best thing, because nowadays, like, I don't believe men are stupid. I think we need to work together, but I wouldn't call them stupid. I mean, for the sake of the song, it's pretty funny, but that's a great song. Okay, so from Greece, Stalker Channing has her own song that she sings after, you know, she thinks she's pregnant, or she is pregnant, and then Kaneki, they break up, and so this one's talking about how people view her and how she's like, there are worse things I can do, and that's what the song's called. And I think it's beautiful. I think the lyrics are beautiful. I think her voice is beautiful, and I think it's an important song, not just for the movie, but you know. What?
You need to be done by 7:10, 7:15.
Okay.
There are worse things I could do than go with a boy or two, even though the neighborhood thinks I'm trashy and no good.
All right, so I have to speed it up. We're on time frame here, but I think that song's beautiful because she's like, basically like, F you for saying that I'm a slut. F you, you know, she's beautiful and she's smart, and I love that song. Okay, so this is from Hairspray.
I can hear the bells.
All right, I Can Hear the Bells. It's basically about how she's talking about how she wants to marry Link. From Enchanted, Amy Adams, That's How You Know.
How does she know you love her?
Great song. That's How You Know. And this is like when she's singing to Patrick Dempsey, like, how does this woman know you love her? You don't show her. Beautiful. My favorite song from High School Musical series, You Are the Music in Me.
Na 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 na, na 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 na, yeah. You are the music in me.
I love that song. That's my favorite song, hands down, from the High School Musical series. Okay, I've Got a Dream by Mandy Moore from Tangled.
I'm malicious, mean and scary. My snare could curdle dairy. And violence-wise, my hands are not the cleanest. But the spite.
That's talking. There's so many people, and she talks about how she's got a dream. There's so many people in that scene. They sing all about their own dreams, even though they're like criminals. They talk. We have dreams too. Okay, from Mulan, Honor to Us All.
This is what you give me to work with. Well, honey, I've seen worse. We are gonna turn this sow's ear into a silk purse.
Love that song. That song makes me laugh every time. Okay, Almost There. I love this song. This is Almost There. Hold on.
I don't have time for dancing. That's just gonna have to wait a while. Ain't got time for messing around, and that's not my style.
She's talking about how she's not going to get distracted. She's got a dream to pursue, and I love that. And my dad and my mom kind of raised me on that. You know, everything else comes later. You get to where you want to be first, and I love that song. This is my favorite rap.
Ladies and gentlemen, you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with us in New York City. Are you ready for a cabinet meeting?
That's in Hamilton. I'm so excited. I'm so ready to see that show. Okay, this is She Used to Be Mine from Waitress. A very slow song, but it's beautiful.
It's not simple to say that most days.
Sarah Bareilles wrote that, and if you've heard her other music, you know it's a great song. I highly encourage you to listen to that. Okay, and this last song is from Dear Evan Hansen, my favorite song from there. It's hilarious. Sincerely Me.
Dear Evan Hansen, we've been way too out of touch. Things have been crazy, and it sucks that we don't talk that much.
You need to listen to that full song, please. Okay, so if you haven't seen these musicals, I highly suggest them. If you can't go see them on Broadway, listen to the soundtracks, read about them. They're amazing, and obviously there's so many more that I'm gonna do another show after I've watched more musicals. I highly suggest all of these. They're all great. They're all hilarious. They're all beautiful. The music is amazing. That's all the time I have for you tonight. We're cutting it really close, but I want to thank you guys all for being here and being with me while I share basically my soul, because musicals are my heart and soul. So I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy. Please, please, please follow the rules of what we're supposed to be doing. You know, California, we're quarantined. Please follow. And just prayers for everyone. I love you all. Thank you for being with me tonight. Bye.